is a really, really significant and very special interview, and I am very much looking forward to it. So we invite you to join. Please come and say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We love when we see all the different places that Call to Peace is touching. So let us know where you're watching from today, and we're looking forward to getting started. And so today, I'm going to let Joy make our incredibly special announcement. For those who do not know, Joy is the Call to Peace Ministry founder. And so I'm going to let her get started.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Called to Peace founder and was executive director until, I don't know, early this week sometime or last week. It was last week. I think we officially rolled over. And I feel like I don't really need to introduce Dan to many of you or most of you because he's been with us at Call to Peace Ministries for 3 years now, Dan.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
And so I know Dan. I've known him, but since before we hired him, I knew his story. I knew his heart and passion for domestic abuse survivors, and I would watch him. He was taking our advocacy training. Dan is now, I guess, he's a pastor by vocation, and as I was watching him and seeing him in advocacy class, I kept thinking, we need to hire him. We need to hire him. It wouldn't go away. And that's kind of how half of our employees begin. So um, I did hire him at the time, and now he's taking my place as executive director. We're really grateful for that because he's been over our church partnership program, has done amazing things to help grow that particular program, which is just fantastic. And so thank you, Dan, for coming. And we are just really excited. Means I can step back and do the things that I love to do. You get to do the nitty gritty. So thanks.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's a real blessing. I think that it's just such a privilege to be a part, what I would consider to be on the front lines of what God is doing. And you left me big shoes to fill, Joy, and so. But no, it's a real blessing. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we are thrilled to have you here, Dan. I believe a lot of us on staff were so shocked. We did not know that you were applying and they announced to the board. It was a very thorough search, y'all. This was months. They interviewed several candidates and they just felt overwhelmingly that Dan was the right person for the job. And so they announced it to us as staff, and I was like, wait a minute, who's that woman? And I was like, wait, that's Dan in my mind. So I am so thrilled. All of us as staff are just thrilled to death that they chose you because you've been just such an excellent leader. You're just so humble and kind. And I'm looking forward to you leading Call to Peace Ministries. And so I'm excited for that. So welcome on board. And I have a question for you, and that is, what led you to apply to become the executive director for Call to Peace Ministries?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people were surprised. It certainly initially wasn't something I was even going to consider, but I was encouraged to consider it, and so thankful for how God has led and directed in that. But one of the things that really spurred me to consider even throwing my name in the ring was just the fact that I've become very convinced that domestic abuse is perhaps one of the most important gospel issues facing the church in our culture today, and I think that similarly, by God's grace, Call to Peace is a leading voice in bringing this issue to the forefront. There's a number of different organizations out there speaking into this realm, but I think Call to Peace is uniquely positioned to make a generational difference with an eternal impact. And I think this is affirmed by the fact that over these past few years, we've seen the tremendous growth of our ministry, the requests coming in, and just the work that God is doing in transforming lives. And so it's just an exciting opportunity to be a part of what God is doing through this ministry.
Wonderful. Well, we're, like I said, very excited that you're here and thrilled to death. And so we're looking forward to seeing all that God is going to do through Call to Peace Ministries through your leadership. And so I have another question for you, and that is, what is your vision for Call to Peace Ministries as the executive director?
Yeah, so Interestingly, I would say my vision isn't significantly different from what Joy's has been all along. We're really staying true to our roots in this. But I do envision advocacy for every victim, support groups for every survivor, and churches that are equipped in every city. And so basically what I'm saying in that is that we want victims to regain their voices through advocacy, that we want to restore survivors through healing support groups, and then ensuring that churches are positioned and well equipped to respond well, to identify and respond to domestic abuse in every community. And so it's a big vision. It's in some ways it's kind of a simple vision, but it's big, and I'm excited to see this progress and continue to grow.
Yes, me too. I'm sure you are too, Joy. And I know this touches things deep in your heart as well. And as a continuation of all that you've done to get us started, Joy, we are so grateful for you and all that you did for Call to Peace Ministries to get us to where we are today. And so we are excited to see that continue on and continue to grow. Do you have anything you want to say, Joy?
Well, yeah, people often thank me for starting Call to Peace Ministries, but I tell them all roads led to Call to Peace Ministries. It was like if I bumped into a wall, there was a turn and there was something else that it just has been incredible. It really isn't my work, my vision, even. It's way beyond my vision, what my vision would have ever been. And my heart is that we would just maintain God's heart for those who are experiencing oppression. And so when I heard that it was Dan, I was excited too, because I know he has that heart, he has that passion. And so we're going to continue to do what we've been doing, but I think that maybe he can make it more efficient. I'm not an administrative person. And so it's going to be great to have somebody who likes to do those kinds of things. And I get to do more of what I like, which is to go out and tell people, to speak on the issues and to write, and I'll still be doing the retreats as well. So I'll be very involved. I'm just not going to be doing the everyday operations, which makes me really happy. So,
And I'm excited for you too, Joy. I know that you really thrive in those areas you mentioned. So I'm looking forward to seeing this is going to help Call to Peace grow all the more too, as you're able to focus on the areas that your expertise lies and you're able to help us continue to grow. So it's just a really exciting thing to see what God is doing. And I'm just so thrilled to see what's going to happen in the next few years. And so that kind of leads me to our next question, which is, Dan, what is your vision for increasing the impact of advocacy, support groups, and our church partnership program? How will this all be accomplished in your vision?
Yeah. Well, let me talk just briefly about the church partnership program too, because a lot of people are wondering what's happening with that as I transition into this role. I've had some people ask, are you going to be doing both positions or whatever? And as Joy's indicated, I've been serving with the church partnership program for about 3 years, give or take a little bit, and we've seen tremendous growth over those years. We've expanded our training, our consulting, our coaching. The team of liaisons has grown to where we have about 30 volunteers now serving in different capacities. And so as a team, we've worked really hard to give victims a voice in their churches. And so right now, I've told the church partnership team that I don't want momentum to be lost in this transition at all. And so we're currently interviewing some candidates to lead the church partnership program to continue to pursue that vision of equipping churches in every city. And so specifically then, when we think about how are we going to grow? How are we going to accomplish this vision? There's a number of different initiatives. I don't have time to explain all of them that we're working on, but a few high points are just that we want to streamline the intake process for victims who are seeking assistance with their churches, to make that a more efficient process, so that, just to speed that whole process up. We want to continue to equip our liaisons, and then even if there's advocates that are interested in this, we'd love to work with them as well, but to help them connect with churches in their local communities where we can promote Call to Peace's resources, the ways that we support churches and walk alongside victims. uh, to generate interest in hosting Protect the Flocks, and maybe even foster a collaborative relationship among the local churches in that community as they respond to domestic abuse. So there's a lot packed into that, but we're working on that. And then we also want to develop some resources for churches that would help them identify red flags, that for men in particular, before they get into these relationships where they could abuse or control. And so like some discipleship type resources along that. There's other things as well, but those are kind of the high points related to the church partnership program. As far as the advocacy program, we're also, I think, looking at some initiatives to expand our effectiveness and reach in that realm. We've been working on introducing a short-term advocacy option where survivors could receive up to 3 really focused sessions with an advocate to address specific concerns or specific needs that they're facing. We want to continue to enhance the advocacy band group by providing access to a library of webinars and other resources, maybe weekly Q&A sessions with advocates, topic-focused chat rooms, things like that, where they can find just a wide variety of resources that on subjects that they may be facing. And then we'll continue to offer one-to-one advocacy support, especially in those situations that need and require greater support. So kind of the higher, maybe higher risk, or kind of as we triage items, those situations that are just requiring greater input from the regular advocate. And then the support groups. We're going to be launching a new support group webinar series, and this is going to be led by Joy. And so I think, Joy, you probably want to say a few words about that since you're much more directly involved in that. So I'll turn it back over to you for a minute. Oh, I think you're muted.
You're muted.
You are correct. I am. Had to cough. As many of you may know, I've been revising and updating the book and the workbook, and have finished the revisions. So we're going to do another live webinar series like we did one this past year. It went fairly well. So you have that opportunity to join us if you'd like. We actually break out in, well, there's 2 different options. So there's a once or twice a month option. I can't remember which. And then there's a weekly option coming up. And so anyway, if you just go over to calledtopeace.org and you fill out the form under the Join Us tab that says you're interested in a support group, then you will get on the email list to actually be signed up for one of those webinars if that's what you want. Nobody's going to, you don't have to do anything. You can just fill it out and wait till something comes along that you like better. But just wanted to share that, and we'll be going over the newer material, even though the book will not be out until April probably. We're going to start this January 15th, so we're looking forward to it. It's really neat to be able to be back doing the support groups, because that's kind of how I got started out in this ministry, and I haven't had time, so it's pretty cool that I can do it.
Yeah, and that new format should allow upwards of 100 women to attend a support group. And so after each webinar, there will be breakout sessions where the women will be broken into smaller groups where they can connect with each other on a deeper level. And so I know that format was test run, I think, earlier this past year, and it seemed to be very well received and very effective. And so we're expanding that. But also, these webinars will be recorded and then used to equip additional support group leaders in the future. So, it's another resource that we're going to have in our toolbox for expanding the support groups in the future. So,
yes,
Wonderful.
And put the details in the chat. So, if you're on Facebook, the details are there's one is once a month and one that is going to be once a week.
Yes, and I just messaged Janice. If you go into her comment section, she will tell you exactly how you can join and connect to be a part of one of those support groups. So just follow that comment thread there. So thank you so much, Dan, for sharing all that. And you highlighted a lot of our end of the year campaign. Well, actually, all of our end of the year campaign. And so right now we're in a fundraiser. It is going till the December 31st. You have a chance to partner with us to raise $160,000 so that we can do exactly what Dan just talked about. Together, we are looking to enhance and expand our advocacy, support groups, and church partnership program, just as Dan outlined. And we invite you to be part of that. So, of our $160,000 so far, we have raised a little over $53,000. We have a $40,000 matching grant, and this is a unique matching grant. So, please pay attention. It is for new donors or those who have not given since 2022. So, if you haven't given since then, please give, because everything you give will be matched. And those who give more than they gave since 2022, it will be increased. The increase will be matched. So if you gave 1,000 last year and you give 2,000 this year, 1,000 of that will be matched. So we invite you to be part of this. And Dan, do you have a word for our listeners as to why they should join and connect with us with Call to Peace Ministries? Because we consider our financial partners as those who are doing the work with us. We're not asking you to give us money so we can do something. We're saying, please join us, because you are part of the work. You are part of the transformation. You're the reason why together we're able to serve so many women in churches. So Dan, what do you have to share?
Right. Well, and it's partnership, right, is the real word there, right? That your partnership with us in that way is going to help us make a generational difference with an eternal impact, right? And so the question that or the invitation, I guess, is, would you join us in providing advocacy for every victim, for providing a support group for every survivor, and for helping us equip churches in every city? Your generosity is what's going to help make that possible.
Yes. Thank you. That was so well said. So, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome, Dan. We are so excited to welcome you as Executive Director of Call to Peace Ministries. So, if you have any questions and you want to leave them in the comments below, or just say a welcome to Dan, or congratulations to Joy as she's getting to transfer to the role of founder and be able to explore the things that she is really passionate and good about, please do, and thank them both for all their service. We're so grateful for both Joy and Dan. They have done so much for Call to Peace Ministries. Dan has done a lot for our church partnership program and really just blew it out of the water and took it to a place we never dreamed or imagined. And Joy, we're so grateful for you. So thank you so much for everybody who joined us here today. Does anybody have any closing words before I close this out?
No, just thank you everybody for coming on, for your support over the years. Like, again, it's always blown me away the way the Lord has multiplied this ministry. And so I just think we have many exciting things to look forward to. We're excited for what he's gonna do. And so we're so grateful for you guys and for your support. We certainly couldn't have done it or gotten this far without you. And we're just so grateful that God has entrusted us with this important work that is so close to his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Joy. I'm grateful for every person that's a part of this journey, this ministry, and I think, Joy, as you said, our desire to really reflect God's heart well. So, yeah.
Amen. Thank you. Well, everybody listening, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.